Hello everyone, I'm Chris Erkley and welcome to your Friday edition of the PE Crime Blotter. San Bernardino County Sheriffs announced at a press conference Friday afternoon that they now believe the cause of death for Christopher Dorner to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. I'm joined now by Press Enterprise's Emron Gori. Emron, not only did they speak about what they believe to be the cause of death, but also gave pretty much a play-by-play detail of how the final shootout with Dorner played out.
That's correct. The big news was, of course, as you mentioned, that he had died of a single gunshot wound to the head. They believe it to be self-inflicted. That hasn't been finalized, but indications based on the weapon are that it was self-inflicted, according to the coroner.
And there was also some kind of questions from both the media and the public as far as the use of tear gas, because they did say that it was one of the hot tear gas canisters that did in fact ignite the cabin, which ultimately led to the final demise of Dorner. But today, the sheriff's officials gave kind of a play-by-play, if you could kind of break it down for us, behind their reasoning behind finally using that tear gas in the manner in which they used it.
Well, they said they used a number of tactics first. First they felt that when they arrived at the scene, they said the first two deputies on the scene, two who were shot, they say were ambushed, and they made attempts to get Dorner to surrender. But he kept firing at them. They fired cold gas into the cabin with the hopes that he would come out and surrender. Then they fired the hot gas canisters, also with the intent that he would surrender. It was at that point that the cabin caught on fire, which they knew was a possibility, but they felt they had no choice.
There was also a lot of questions from both the media and the public in regards to the manhunt that occurred over the previous days, given that the cabin where Dorner was found by the Reynolds family was so close to the command center that they'd had for the search. Explain kind of what they said in defending the approach that they took in the search in that area.
Right. Well, the parameters that the sheriff gave was that they would look for any structures where there was some suspicion maybe that was broken into, anything out of the ordinary. This particular cabin, they knocked on the door Thursday evening, the day the search first began. They knocked, and they got no response. The cabin was locked, so they marked it with yellow tape, indicating they had searched it and moved on. At the press conference today, the sheriff defended that decision, saying his instruction was they were not going to be kicking down doors. In fact, they don't have the right to do so unless there's some suspicion there that it was broken into.
From their investigation and speaking with the Reynolds family, the owners of the cabin, they say that they left the cabin unlocked for a maintenance man, and so they believe that Dorner entered the cabin sometime later Thursday, because when sheriff's officials tried to enter the cabin, it was in fact locked.
That's correct. Yeah, the sheriff did mention that it was probably unlocked when Dorner was able to get into the cabin.
All right, Emron, thanks for joining us. That does it for your Friday edition of the PE Crime Blotter. Be sure to stay tuned right here on PE.com for the latest information on the Dorner investigation.